This episode is about minutes 36 through 40 of The Rise of Skywalker with new guest Patrick Cotnoir.
Hello.
Hello there, and welcome to Star Wars Music Minute, where we celebrate the music and sound of Star Wars 5 cinematic minutes at a time. I'm Chrysanthi Tan, you can call me Xanthi, and today is all about minutes 36 through 40 of Star Wars Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker. In this episode of the film, Rey heals the vexis, the serpent thing. The Knights of Ren arrive on Pasaana. The team goes to Ochi's ship. Rey leaves the group to confront Kylo Ren and slices off one of his TIE Whisper wings. Then Chewie is captured, and Rey uses the Force to try to pull back the transport that he's on. Today's guest is Patrick Cotnoir from the George Lucas talk show, and you may also know him from the Naboo Movie, the live table read of The Phantom Menace that we did a couple months ago. Hi, Patrick.
Hi. Thank you for having me. I'm so psyched to be here.
I'm psyched to have you. This is a weird movie. We were saying just before recording, this is quite a weird movie. And this set of minutes that we have is what was presented in the trailer.
Yes. Also, maybe, look, there are things I like in this movie. Mm-hmm. I'll start with that, okay? But I think the thing that I like the least in this movie is in these 5 minutes.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I'm so curious what it is.
It's the Chewie thing.
Okay.
I think the Chewie thing, the thing that I really don't like is the reveal. I think it should come like 15 minutes later in the movie, and there's no real reason why it doesn't, because it feels like they just immediately tell you that, oh, guess what? He's alive. But, obviously it gets set up in these 5 minutes, and it's, I don't know. I've watched it a few times trying to think, like, why would you do it so quickly? And it doesn't really make sense because there's, like, not another Kylo scene for a while. There's not another First Order scene for a while. And I don't know. It just feels like they should have held off on it a little longer. That's not a hot take. I think a lot of people have said that.
It's not a hot take. Yeah.
No.
Definitely not a hot take. No. It's not a hot take, but I think the Chewie thing was also one of my biggest... I actually liked this movie. I'm kind of in Pete's camp, but the Chewie thing was a little bit less of a good part for me.
I think there's a lot of death fake outs, and I think it's too many.
I think
there should be one maybe, but they have 3PO, they have Chewie, they have Rey, they have Kylo kind of. When he gets stabbed, you think he's gonna die. There's a lot of stuff where you're like, oh no, is this person going to die? No, they're fine. Whatever.
Okay, so let's just get into starting to listen to the minutes, and then I'll pause, and then we'll talk about what we've heard, kind of go through the 5 minutes that way. Okay, so here we go. Yeah, so get a little classic Force theme moment.
Yeah. The noise for what is the name of the snake? You said it, and I was like, I've never heard that before, and I felt really bad.
Vexis.
Yeah, it is kind of crazy that I was like, I don't know what that thing is called, because I feel like I know what every other thing is called in all of these silly movies. The noise that the vexis makes is also very cool.
Yeah, how would you describe it?
It's reptilian, but it's not at the same time. It's almost like a whale, too.
Interesting.
There's a little bit of underwater whale calls, maybe.
Okay,
I don't know.
Whale. Okay, like a whale, not a crying whale.
Yes, no, like a underwater big guy.
Yeah, no, I agree with you on that.
How would you say it?
I think it also sounds whale-like. Not to copy you, but
I appreciate it.
But it was good. It was a good one. I also feel like there's a rustling of, I don't know. It's not not leaves. They're just the kind of the soft percussiveness of the way that it rustles is very satisfying, I think.
Yeah.
But then there is a sort of vocalization too. So there's the sound that its body makes when it moves, and then there's the sound that's coming from like inside of the animal itself.
Sure. Do you have a favorite Star Wars noise?
Whew.
I know that's a
God.
giant question, and I don't have an answer, so please don't ask me.
Okay,
But
I'm definitely going to ask you right after I give you an answer. I'll give you, okay, here's a favorite noise from the shows. It's the comlink chirp, I think. Oh, you know what? Okay, no, a favorite noise is the sound of doors opening and closing.
sure.
Yeah.
Sure. That's a good noise. I thought of one while you were talking.
Okay. What is it?
The alarm noise.
Which one?
Like just oh god. I think it's on like Yavin, I think.
Okay.
It's the one that's in the Rogue One trailer.
Yeah, understood.
I can't even like recreate it, but I think that's probably up there. I don't know. It just feels very Star Wars to me.
Indeed it is. It's not really the one that I would try to fall asleep to on like a 8-hour loop, but
Sure. We use it a lot on the George Lucas Talk Show, so I think I've just heard it so many times. We use it as like our incoming guest noise if we have like a surprise guest popping in.
Yeah, that's very good.
So I think there's, it's like also just like built into my brain in that way because I've heard it so many times. The Force theme also very good. We were talking about that, and then we got sidetracked by the vexis.
Yeah, and it is like the Force theme is used a lot. Some would say it's overused. This feels like an appropriate use of it, and it is a very classic use of it. I would say it's not really doing anything weird or new, and sometimes it does. This is just a very standard. And it gives you that satisfying chord, which sometimes it doesn't go there, but it feels very clean and like no ulterior motives happening and whatever. Just very nice. The Force theme is my favorite theme.
How do you feel about this soundtrack as a whole?
Okay. I like it a lot. I think so there's a couple different parts of it. So there's the soundtrack to the movie as we see the film, and then there's the soundtrack like the album that came out, and then there's like the score of what John Williams wrote, a lot of which we haven't been able to hear because it was cut or yet. I think the sound, it makes me, I wish the movie were better received because I feel like there are good things about the soundtrack that will be overlooked because of the distaste people have for the movie. I think my favorite thing about the soundtrack is the way it depicts friendship. Because I think that's a very hard thing to do in a non-cheesy way. And I think this film actually does that really earnestly and well. And it's very hard to do that. So it also does evil very well. But I think evil is a little bit easier to do in a passable way. It's hard to do.
And it's been done a lot in these movies.
Yeah.
There's a lot of evil music or whatever.
Yeah, and yet I feel like there are distinct new evil things in this movie still. Like he has still found new ways to depict evil, namely like the Knights of Ren have kind of a stabby theme that we will hear in this set of minutes, and then there's the whole Anthem of Evil thing, which is funny because Knights of Ren, Anthem of Evil, I keep hearing it in the Acolyte.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Or things that sound very similar. So, it's very top of mind right now for multiple reasons. I don't know if they're all intentional.
Are you excited by hearing the Ren stuff in being repurposed by other composers? Like, is that something that you like, or do you wish people would just do their own thing, or what are your takes on that kind of thing?
Oh, I do like it. I just don't know. I don't always know if it's intentional. Because also there were a couple times in the Bad Batch final season that did Kylo Ren's theme, and I was not sure if it was on purpose or not.
Sure.
In the Acolyte, I think it actually is on purpose.
Yeah, that's what it seems like.
Yeah. So I think it's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry to hijack. I'm very curious about your your music taste and your music thoughts on this movie in particular, but all of them.
Yeah, it's a good question, and one that, as you know, John Williams has been phased out at this point. It's kind of a looming question that every Star Wars composer has to kind of contend with. How much am I going to use? How much can I use? How much should I use?
Do you have a favorite non-John Williams score for Star Wars?
For movie or show?
Both.
Okay. For movie, I think it's John Powell.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
The solo score.
Yeah.
And then for show, it's a tie between Andor and Acolyte, actually.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I think the Acolyte music is very good.
Yeah. No, I do too. Those are just, I feel like those are not the two ones that you hear people say a lot when they.
What do you think people?
I don't know. I feel like you get a lot of Kiner stuff. You know, everyone's like Clone Wars, Rebels, whatever. But I agree. I think the Acolyte music is really rad, and I like the Acolyte. I'm all in. I feel like I have to say that now, which stinks. You know,
yeah.
Whenever you're having a conversation with someone where you're like, "No, I like it. I'm having fun."
Yeah, I'm having
but
a lot of
the
fun
music is definitely something that stands out as a big part of it.
Yeah, the music is a huge highlight for me. I feel like the music of a lot of shows has let me down, and shows have let me down too. But
Sure.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
Yeah, and that's okay. I'm happy to have the Acolyte, and I hope Michael Abels comes back for another one.
Yeah.
Anyway, I guess we can just keep listening, keep on playing. Whale sounds. Okay, have you seen A Quiet Place?
Yes, and I was trying to figure out what that noise made me think of, and you're absolutely right that that's what it is.
Yeah.
What is that noise?
I don't know. I don't know if it's meant to be like on screen I think it's like, is it the tongue or is it like?
Maybe, but I'm wondering what it is in real life, because it feels like it has to be something, because a lot of people use that kind of noise, and it's not just something that you make up, you know? Mm-hmm. I don't know what it is.
I don't know what it is either. I would like to know though. So if anyone listening to this has seen an interview or something. I'm going to Google it.
Yeah.
Don't look up vexis. Probably need to look up serpent.
I won't.
I don't know if the sound designers know it's called vexis.
I'll try to Google, see what I can find.
All right, cool. You can work on that.
Great.
Yeah. It's A Quiet Place. Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
The sound conveys
force energy from me to him. You would have done the same.
The sound conveys such a massive scale of that thing. Like it takes that long to uncoil itself.
Which is probably why they use whales. You know?
Because it's also big.
Well, it's big, yeah. And I think people like subliminally are like, oh, that's a big noise.
Completely, because I mean, when I think of the sound of things, whether they're like coming from an animal or a person, or it's the sound that something makes when it falls or clinks or whatever, like the sound does quite a bit of work in building our perception of the size of a thing or even the shape of a thing, because that's just how acoustics work. Like if you have a bigger like chamber, like I don't know, like a bigger body to project sound, it's going to be bigger. Which brings me to like my favorite arc of the Clone Wars is the droid arc. However, the one thing that is so uncanny to me is how Meeber Gascon has such a big voice coming out of that little thing. Yeah.
That's so interesting that's your favorite arc. Why is that your favorite arc? I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just curious.
It just felt, it feels so, it reminds me of in the Phantom Menace when in the mall, in the big, Duel of the Fates part.
Yeah.
It reminds me of when the like energy thingies go down and they're kind of stuck for a moment. And when Qui-Gon's like meditating in there, it is like a stop of the normal action. It's like
Sure.
Here we're going to step aside and just go into a completely different world for a second. And that's what those droid episodes did for me. It felt like a poetry break or something. Like,
Yeah.
it was so spacious and like different. And I like how it just played with scale, and it just felt so different. And I like that was able to exist within the Clone Wars cartoon.
I think George has said that's his favorite arc too.
I have heard that recently, and I feel vindicated because my friend made fun of me for liking that arc.
No, it's fun. I like those the weird Clone Wars ones where they will just go off on a side quest or something, and you're just like, oh, I mean, Star Wars can be anything, and I feel like a lot of people forget that, you know? Totally. Star Wars doesn't have to be one thing, and that arc is very much that. You know, it's its own thing, and there's nothing else like it, and that rules. I love that.
Yeah, it does. Okay, keep going. Look at them.
Look at those guys.
They're so bad.
Just standing around. Doing what they do, standing in a circle.
Yeah. They're like, the biker gang.
I know.
Yeah, so I think this music is it's really fun and funny.
Yeah.
For some reason. Yeah, what do you think of it? I mean, we have like the chaotic, like, and then we have the.
I mean, look, as a former trumpet player, big fan.
You were?
Big fan. Yeah.
Nice.
Elementary through high school, I took a year or two off because I got braces. And it was just like destroying my mouth to try to play the very small mouthpiece. So they put me on a tuba. Just because the mouthpiece was so much bigger. And then I went back to the trumpet, and I was so bad at it because I had taken so much time off that it was just like, we lost it. We lost it.
Did the tuba not like keep you?
No, not really. I think I just wasn't into it as much. You know, it was so heavy, and it was just like, it was a sousaphone. It wasn't even a tuba. It was like, the big guy. And that just really bummed me out. But look, any trumpets in Star Wars, I'm all over, you know?
Well, you're in luck.
I think that's a trumpet, right?
There are definitely trumpets involved.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think, I don't know. You're right. It is funny. I don't know why it's funny. I guess it's funny because that music implies, like, these guys are bad. You know, like, these are the guys. You better watch out for these guys. And then they don't really do anything.
That's pretty much exactly why I think it's funny.
I think that's why it's funny.
Yep, yeah. Totally. Because it's so, like, first, the strings are going.
Yeah.
It's like, everyone watch out. Clear the stage. Get this fog on. All right. Here we go.
Uh-huh. And they're basically just lost.
Yeah. Just looking.
They're just they're like, do you see them? I don't see them. Where are they? Like, that's pretty much all they're doing.
And the theme, and the it repeats like 3 times, each time escalating in intensity. So it's like,
yeah.
Here's the first time. Maybe muted trombone.
Sure.
Oh. And add the strings and trumpets.
Oh.
Now we do even more. The timpani's involved.
Does that come back when they go and fight Kylo at the end?
Oh, good question. I don't remember.
Or is that the only time that is played in the movie? I don't know.
Oh, no, that happens a lot.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay. So it probably does. Yeah.
Look, I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't rewatch the movie for this.
That's okay.
I'm so sorry. I felt like I've seen it enough, but not enough to pick up on how often that comes back. Yeah, it is really funny. I mean, that shot is cool.
Yeah.
It's a cool shot. Like, you can tell they're really there, you know? Which is exciting, but yeah.
Really there, meaning like really on set, really.
Yes. In, where was that? Was that Jordan? Is that where they shot that?
I think so. And didn't they, on Pasaana? Because I think I remember from Star Wars Minute, they were saying that they had like soldiers or like military people play extras in the festival or something.
We did our Star Wars Minute for Rise of Skywalker was on Pasaana. It was I think it was Lando when Lando like takes the helmet off. But it's got my favorite character, or my top 2 characters in this movie. Top 3 characters in this movie. I got 3 guys in this movie that I love.
Wait, can I guess?
Okay?
I want to guess.
Yeah, please.
Babu Frick.
No, not even in there. I would put him at 4.
Okay.
You're thinking too big. You're thinking way too big.
Oh no. The Muppet.
Yes, number 1 with a bullet.
Okay.
That was our minute. We did that for that minute. Okay, we got 2 other ones.
Jenna? Is it all guys?
I mean, do we know the Muppet is a woman, I believe.
Oh, okay. Right. C-3PO.
And I don't know no, you're thinking far too big.
Okay. Just tell me.
Okay, it's of course the Muppet. That's number 1. Number 2 is Rothgar Dang. The guy who's like maybe Dengar.
Okay. Is that his name?
But he's very
Dang?
It's Rothgar Dang. Yeah.
Funny.
He's very skinny now. And the third guy was Boolio. I love Boolio.
Oh, Boolio. He's already
Big
gone.
fan of Boolio.
At this point.
I know. Well, he was barely here.
I know.
Big Boolio guy.
Yeah.
I used to work. Let me. Can I tell you a very quick Boolio story? I feel like
Please.
I've never told this story before.
It's an exclusive.
Big Boolio guy. Yeah. Pre the movie coming out, I was working at Marvel in New York, and made a big deal about how much I liked Boolio. And the movie was not even out yet, but I was like, Boolio's my guy. Like,
how did you know about Boolio?
I think they had like released photos or released like there was a toy leak or something like that of him. And I was just like, I know this guy's going to be who I'm into. So then we saw that they were putting out a cardboard cutout of Boolio. So in the office, someone goes, I bought you the cutout. It's being shipped here. So I was like, okay, well, we're going to put it up in this office. And that word of that got back to my boss, and my boss was like, absolutely not. Like, you're not putting it in the office. You can put it in my office. Like, I will have it in my office, but it can't just be in the general bullpen, which I don't agree with to this day. I think it should have been out for everyone.
Is the bullpen just what the common area is?
Yeah. It's where most of people were sitting if you had a cubicle and not an office. Mm-hmm. So they order this, it doesn't show up, right? It just doesn't come. So they email the company saying, hey, we never got our Boolio. They say, that's fine, we'll mail you another Boolio. So then both Boolios come on one day. So now we have 2 Boolios.
Oh no.
And my boss's office then had to have 2 Boolio cardboard cutouts. And then COVID happened, and I have no idea what happened to Boolio, and I'm so sad about it.
Oh.
Yeah, she brought a bunch of stuff to my house from my desk, and I was like, "Well, where's Boolio? Yeah, where are they? They were in your office." But that's my Boolio story.
That was a sad ending.
Mm-hmm, I'm really sorry.
It's okay. I guess we'll move on.
Yeah.
Okay.
We cannot possibly fly in that old wreck.
You gotta keep moving. Find someone who can translate that dagger, like a helpful droid.
I suggest we return to the Millennium Falcon at once.
They'll be waiting for us at the Falcon.
Yeah, they'll throw us in the pits of Grick.
Yeah, and use you as a target droid.
You both
Music
make
back in.
excellent points at times.
What is it?
Just very...
It's okay.
Okay, I have a question about this.
Yes.
So the music comes in there, and Finn's like, what is it? And Rey's like, I'll be right behind you. It's okay. Now, does it...
Right behind you. It's okay.
Does it sound like it's okay?
Well, they can't hear the music.
True. If only they could.
You got to think about it that way.
Yeah. In the audience, I can hear the music, so I'm like, Rey, it's not okay.
It's not okay, Rey. They should make a movie where everyone can hear the music.
Yeah. But it's not diegetic. It's just...
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's not okay. It's not
Definitely
okay.
not okay.
I wonder if are there any movies where someone goes like, oh, it's okay, don't worry, or it's not okay, like we're in trouble, but the music is very happy? Like, has that, it feels like
3PO
it's
does
always,
that.
yeah, I guess so. It feels like it's always like, oh, we'll be fine, but the music is obviously ominous or whatever, and it's rarely the opposite of that.
I'll have to, maybe in Star Wars, that's the case. I could see, well, I think sometimes there is like intentional juxtaposition of like definitely things not being okay, but having really happy music in a way to make things creepy.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's definitely not what's happening here. We have these like 2 low brass notes going. First of all, like the way that the music opens, which is if you have the For Your Consideration soundtrack, this is track 4 in the desert, and it just starts kind of not necessarily bad, but not necessarily good.
Yeah.
It's kind of
Off-putting.
Yeah, it is off-putting.
It's very screechy.
Yeah.
You
Which is a major 7th apart, which is the biggest like interval within an octave. So there is like a little bit of a dissonance there. That interval will come back later within these minutes.
I love it. I think it's, I mean, I also love when you play it. Every time you go over there, I'm like, ooh, here we go.
Yeah, this is my masterpiece.
Uh-huh.
Thank you. I worked hard for that.
Uh-huh. Well, it sounds great.
Thank you.
It sounds great.
Thanks, appreciate
You should take over for John.
Thanks. Okay. And then going back, we'll just continue. So it doesn't sound okay. So now they're in Ochi's ship.
Yes.
See what we got. Let's get those converters fired up.
What a filthy shame.
Look at that.
Where is she?
Yeah, so what are you hearing in that?
I mean, we love the machines turning on noise.
We do.
We love it. It's great. The music was very quiet. So it's like, you know, I don't know. It feels like in this movie, either the music is very loud and in your face or very quiet in the background. I think more so than other movies, at least for me, where I was listening to this before this. I went to go get lunch and I like had it in my car playing, and it's almost better to like just listen to it like in a car because it's like completely surrounding you.
Yeah.
And there were things that when I was watching it, the clip normally, I was like, oh, I didn't even hear the music there. And then you're listening there and you're like, there is something coming. I'm not going to say what it is yet, but there's something coming up where I'm like, I never would have heard that had I just listened to it in my headphones or just on my computer or something like that.
Oh, interesting.
But it does feel like the juxtaposition of this movie in general. This movie's either very loud or very quiet, and there's no real in between, I think, for this. I don't know. I remember this movie being a very loud movie.
Oh, interesting. Did you see it at the same theater that you have seen like lots of other movies? Controlled.
Yeah, I guess so. I saw it. Where did I see it for the first time? Oh, yeah, I saw it. We saw it at the 34th Street AMC in Manhattan for the first time. And I saw it with the girl I was dating at the time and a friend of mine. And we were all so excited. And then I was very quiet on the train ride home.
Oh.
I've come around to a lot of it, but at the time, very quiet. And then I saw it, I think probably every other time, because I want to say I saw it 5 times. I think I saw all the Disney Star Wars movies 5 times in theaters. I like it. Look, here's my thing. I don't know the next time I'm going to see this in a theater. You know? I don't know if I ever will see this in a theater again. So I might as well get as many as I can while it's still there.
Man, I wish I saw them. I wish I saw them more.
Yeah.
I do.
We also had, I guess Movie Pass. Movie Pass was around for some of them.
Oh, that's
But
nice.
I had like the Regal version of MoviePass, whatever that was, like the AMC A-list, but for Regal. So it wasn't, I didn't pay $200 to go see this in a theater. Like, I had the thing that I was able to go to a lot. But yeah, that was always my plan, was see it at least 5. And I usually went by myself after the first time, just because it would be like, oh, it's 2 p.m. on a Thursday or whatever,
Right.
But yeah, I don't know. I just remember, especially the opening of this movie is very loud. The like hyperspace skipping, there's just so much going on that it's a little overwhelming, I think.
Yeah.
But
I
then
can
the
see
stuff
that.
we just listened to, I'm like, is that on the soundtrack? The stuff that's in the background there?
Okay, so
I know that's a
not
hard
really.
question.
Not really.
Yeah.
There are, what the 4 year what four-year consideration is.
yeah.
So like in the 4 year, it's on the 4 year consideration soundtrack, since that's more
Sure.
accurate to what's in the movie, but that's not commercially released. So I am going to play it in a second so we can hear it more in the open, but yeah, it's not on the main soundtrack.
It's not commercially released. Has someone uploaded it somewhere? Like, is it on YouTube or anything? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Just checking.
Yeah, so here we go. So this is her being like, does it sound okay? And now we're going into Ochi's ship. It's March of the Resistance. Yeah. And I agree, it's so faint.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very faint.
Yeah. I'm curious if it's just the internet connection or if this is actually how it sounds, but it sounds kind of like underwatery a little bit.
Oh, interesting.
I know it's not, like there's obviously no water there, but the vibe is like, at least from the way I'm hearing it right now, is it just sounds a little like muted, or even, maybe there was they had mutes on the trombones or whatever, but it just sounded like a little echoey, a little watery, a little like you were listening to something while swimming.
Interesting. Okay, I kind of want to hear that again now.
Yeah. I'll point to it when
Oh, okay,
the
okay.
part that I was thinking.
We didn't get this far
Like
before.
this. Like that
okay.
part, kind of,
Oh, okay. I think that's
Just how it's like a little
yeah.
quiet. Yeah. It's definitely intentional. It's just an interesting sound.
yeah. No, it is. It like the melody.
I think there's
has
more later,
ceased
too.
there. Yeah, like there's no more melody in it. There's like the harp going. Mm-hmm. Yeah, lots of stuff. Yeah. So let's go back to.
Finn, help me out over here.
Chewie, tell Ray we gotta go.
Very ominous. 3 times, 4 times. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very insistent, and the notes, which are like F sharp, G, C sharp, or C sharp. The notes form. Okay, what is known? I've mentioned this on the show a few times, but in set theory, it's okay. In set theory, in musical, in pitch class set theory. Okay, this is basically forming a Viennese trichord, which is otherwise known as, it's 016. 0 being like if all the pitches are assigned a number from 0 to 12, pitch, each one would be half step apart. So this is 016, so that would be 016, because 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. And basically it's just saying like, here's a set of notes that if we reduce it down to just a set of numbers, so then we can transpose in any key, then can we notice these same 3 notes popping up elsewhere? And so in this case, it shows up, those 3 notes show up a lot actually in this movie. Also in Desert Chase from Raiders of the Lost Ark. Also in Book of Boba Fett, in the Hutt twins theme. And I'm going to play that in a second. That.
Cool.
Yeah. So, yeah, just it's kind of like a pet thing.
I like the Boba soundtrack so much.
Really?
I'm so into the Boba soundtrack. I think it's great.
Do you like when they sing Boba Fett?
Yes, absolutely,
Yeah.
I do. It's the best thing that's ever happened in Star Wars.
No, I think it's great. And did you notice in The Acolyte when they did that?
I did.
Yeah.
Oh wait, no, I didn't notice
Oh
that.
my gosh. Okay. No,
When is that?
They've done it once, and it was, I think, for episode 4 or 5. But on like,
I love that.
yeah, like on my channel when we're doing our reactions to it, like I printed out like a thing that was putting words to it. Yeah, because that was a thing that we've been singing like as a joke every time. We've just been going theatrical, and then when they actually did it, it was so satisfying.
They should do that for every show.
That's what we think. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so funny. No, I think the Boba soundtrack rules. I think like because it's different. You know, it's like different than the other stuff. It's like I guess closest to Mando.
Yeah.
But it just feels more. I don't know.
I like that
Tribal's not the
Thundercat
right
is on it.
word, but yeah. It's just so unique. I think more so than almost any other soundtrack. It just it's so varied, and so that Hutt music rules.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I like
I'm just
the Hutt
in my
music.
head about how much I like that. Yeah.
I like the Hutt music too, and I was a little bit sad that it didn't come back after the Hutt twins.
I would love to see those Hutt twins some more.
I would too. They were a really fun reveal for me in that show.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Someday.
someday. Okay.
Someday.
So now we're starting to hear something in the background.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's becoming more obvious. Yeah. Oops. Oh, sorry to my editor for that one. Like, I don't know exactly what the notes are, but it's an effect the violins are doing. Like some noodly high up stuff, which is very Star Wars. You know, it is reminiscent of what we hear in, I guess, in Empire Strikes Back when Luke is toward the end. Just like the really fast noodly notes. They usually don't mean a good thing.
This was the part where I heard the thing that I didn't hear elsewhere, which was, I think it was right before you see the TIE Fighter, but I can't remember exactly now because I can't hear it now in the headphones, which was I heard the Vader breathing. Did you hear that? I heard Vader when I was in my car. I like almost pulled over because I was like, I've never heard this before. I heard very quiet breathing that I swear is the Vader breathing. Maybe I'm insane.
Okay, let's re-listen to this.
Yeah. You have better headphones than I, so maybe you'll hear it. It's not that. I can't hear it now. It's not the wind. I sound insane. I'm like pulling my damn hair out of my head. It's not the wind noise, but I swear to you, I heard it. Maybe I am crazy, but it was definitely in that as it's approaching part. I don't know.
Okay.
Sorry.
Whatever you say.
Just say yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
There. It's mixed very quiet, as we've been saying.
Okay.
It's
Great. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no worries.
I'm gonna go back into my car after this, and I'm gonna find the
It's just a
exact
car
second.
effect.
Yes.
That's funny. Yeah, no, if you do, definitely let me know, and I will.
I will.
Yeah, maybe I'll try it in my car and see what happens.
You're gonna have to put out an apology video.
I will. I'm so
sorry. I made fun of Patrick. A little notes app.
Yeah. Yeah. So what we're about to get is, okay. So what's happening? For those that don't recall, we're hearing Kylo Ren's TIE whisper approaching, and Rey had just had a feeling before. That's why she went out on her own, and is just kind of waiting for his inevitable arrival. The sound designers, I guess the supervising sound editor and Matthew Wood, and then also David Accord did an interview with the Dolby Institute, which they interview people like sound designer. I guess they interview people who are nominated for, I guess, Oscars or something. So I think they were nominated for this movie. And so they go down, they discuss a few key moments, and they do talk about this moment. Let's see what they say. First, Dave Accord says it's just a speck in the distance, Kylo's TIE fighter. It's just supposed to sound like a speck in the distance, and the sound of the wind vaguely sounds like a distant TIE fighter. He says it's a sort of one of those, is it a tie? Is it wind? But then it sort of cuts back and forth. And then we'll get to, I'll read more of it as we continue in the scene. But yeah, it's nice to hear a little bit about the process of cutting this, because it's a really love it or hate it. I guess some people might not like it. It feels like it went through a lot of iterations to get it right according to what they wanted to get the effect.
Why do you think people don't like this?
Maybe because I don't know. I'm just assuming there's anytime people like something, there's going to be people who don't like it.
Yes.
So yeah.
I think it's one of the cooler parts of the movie. I think I like that there's no music in it, or not really. They don't overpower it with music, and I like. I don't know. The sound of it is very cool. It just like hearing the isolated ship noises without any other explosions or music or whatever in the background, I think is neat, and not something you hear that often because it's usually like in space and there's other stuff going on.
Totally.
So big ups to them on that.
Agreed. Okay, we'll continue listening.
What's she doing? Where the hell's Chewie?
It's Ren.
That little bit of music there, it sounds like it's going through the motions of March of the Resistance, but not doing the notes of it.
Yeah,
like it has the rhythm and the basic texture of it. Yeah. So here, Finn runs outside.
Why do you think that is? Why do you think he just doesn't do it?
Probably because of the uncertainty of the situation. Maybe.
Sure.
I don't know why. But it is, I guess, my interpretation. What do you think?
It is just, I don't know. It's just interesting to make it sound so close, but just not do it, That's probably a good take on it, is that everything's weird at that moment, and it's not really a heroic moment for them.
Right.
They're kind of just scared or getting ready to get out of there, But yeah, no, it's just interesting that it's it would be like if you heard the opening theme in the movie, but it was slightly different. And you're just oh, well, why is it just not the theme? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I feel like when it comes to, I feel like John Williams frequently will do twists on the themes. Like he'll riff off of them and kind of do other things. So I almost find that I feel the opposite way. Like when, like I assume that it will be different, and then if it is a direct recall of the theme, then I'm like, oh,
Sure.
why go direct here?
Sure. Oh, interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, because
I mean, I guess it's nice to just have new stuff too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You don't always need to play the same stuff. Yeah.
And maybe they just wanted to, because they're cutting between the scenes, so maybe they just want to, maybe he was just thinking, well, it's the same group, they're kind of doing the same thing, so I'll keep, maybe not doing the exact notes of the theme, but I'll keep doing music of the same sort to, I don't know, tie it back into where they just were. Maybe something like that. I don't know.
Sure.
Okay. And there's the Anthem of Evil, or the Psalm of the Sith, A section, one might say.
I have a question about I'm thinking about the For Your Consideration soundtracks. Do they name all of the tracks on there, or how do they, like the unreleased music? How do they do? Oh, wow.
And sometimes it's the same name.
Boring tracks or like boring track titles, or do they go for it in the way that they do with the other ones?
I'll show you. So,
Okay.
some,
so those are,
they're kind of normal. Sometimes they do more fun titles, though.
Yeah.
Like I think John Powell likes to do that. Yeah, in this case, some of the tracks are like exactly the same as on the normal soundtrack.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, mostly it's very descriptive track titles.
Sure.
So you know where you are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also like anytime some guy in a helmet's talking.
Why?
And you can hear them in that little part right there. I don't know. I just like the vocalization, the like weird distortion they put on it. I think it's funny that they basically all sound the same, even though they're different guys. You know what I mean? Like when they were clones, that makes sense, but it's very funny that basically because in A New Hope, they're like, all these stormtroopers basically sound the same. They've sort of had to keep up with that. I think I always find it amusing when they made some dumb decision back in 1976 when making the first movie.
Hold on to it.
We have to keep doing it.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. It's very funny.
Do you have a favorite helmet voice?
Ooh, great question. Maybe Boosh.
Oh, that's a good one.
The Leia one. Yeah. That's probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably the one.
That is a good one. I guess this isn't a helmet, but to bring it back to Book of Boba Fett, I do like the mayor with the translator, the Thorian. Yeah, that was really good.
I also like that when they have someone famous do the voice, like that's Robert Rodriguez, I think, right?
Oh, is it?
Who's the mayor? I believe so. But it's something where if they're doing a voice through a helmet, like you probably won't know it's them.
Yeah.
Whereas most other cameos, you're like, oh, well, that's so-and-so. I can tell because it sounds like him, you know?
Tell me, does Jon Favreau, is he super noticeable to you when he shows up?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, really? Okay. He's not to me.
Oh, my God. Oh, so, yeah.
Yeah, okay. That's funny.
Anytime I watch that, and this is not a slight on Favreau at all, but anytime I see him doing that, I'm like, oh, there's Jon Favreau. There's Jon Favreau.
Which ones did he do? He did Paz Vizsla in Mandalorian.
He did Paz Vizsla.
And he did the one in Solo.
In Clone Wars.
Oh,
and he did, Rio Durant, too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Paz Vizsla is the funniest because he's clearly, like, putting on a voice.
Yeah.
Where he's like, I'm playing a tough guy in this one, you know? And the other ones are like, I'm fun Jon Favreau. But him playing a tough guy, I think is very funny.
That is funny. I feel like I would do, I don't know about tough, but I feel like it would be harder for me to do. I'm fun guy. That seems harder to me. Oh, sure. But
Can
I think
you try?
I'm fun guy. Just it's not, I'm not like, okay, so I do commercial auditions, like I do commercial stuff. And whenever it's like the emotional preparation I have to do like just a fun, happy like thing
Sure.
is so much more than
Oh,
than
of
what
course.
it,
No, that makes.
like.
What does that
Especially,
say about us?
I don't know, but like especially, yeah, especially like especially when I lived alone, it was like, okay, I need to like, I need to just talk to myself. I need to
Yeah.
just,
Yeah.
like I need to
That's
speak
really
out
funny.
loud to another person because I've
course.
just been thinking all day, and now I have to like be
Yeah.
happy and sell a product.
Did you live with someone during COVID?
No.
Yeah. See, that's tough.
Yeah. Yeah. No.
Did you find that you spoke out loud to yourself more often than you do normally, or?
No, because the thing is, like, I am someone who loves alone time, and so it didn't
Yeah.
feel like horrible to not have people there to speak to, but I
Sure.
did feel the effects of it, and so I knew it was not good for me.
Yeah.
I didn't speak to myself more because it takes effort to do that. It takes like
Sure.
energy to talk. It takes energy to talk in a social manner, and so when I'm talking to myself, it's more like it goes either dark or it goes just
Yeah.
really soft or just goes mumbly. It goes rambly. Like unless there's another person, I can't stay like focused on a
Yeah.
conversation with myself.
I get that. I
Yeah.
get that. That's
Yeah.
funny.
Yeah.
Well, I hope you book every
thank
I'm
you.
Fun Guy audition from now on.
Thank you. There's a reason I'm better at booking print. Put it that way. Anyway. Okay. It sounds like muted trumpet or something. Mm-hmm. And there's like a serene string pad as Kylo's ship is getting closer.
Now, for the strings like that,
Mm-hmm.
is it this, or is it just one like drawn out, or what? How are they making that noise?
In this case, it is just
Yeah.
one drawn out. Like,
Okay.
yeah. Oh my gosh. Sorry. Yeah. Flipping between so many things. Lord have mercy. There we go. So it's just. Although I was hearing tremolo at the end. Just a second.
Yeah.
No, I think it's just sustained.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds like one part is holding, and then another part is going. And so together,
Sure.
it's but sometimes it is very
Yeah.
for
yeah.
a
Yeah.
little more texture,
Which
yeah.
is more unsettling than the single
yeah.
note.
Yeah, I think the single note makes it sound more serene.
Yeah. There's just so many noises that he will use or musical sounds or anything. And you hear it so often and you're like, I don't know how they're actually doing that. I've heard that noise so often, but I don't know actually what that is if you actually broke it down.
Ah, yeah, I
that's
take
why I
some of
wanted to
that for
ask.
granted. Yeah. No, yeah, thanks for asking.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll continue. Well, that was okay. That's the lightsaber. The perspective shifts are so audible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which again, like I was saying, this movie gets very quiet and then very loud, then very quiet, and that's a pretty
Yeah.
key example of that, I think.
Yeah, that it does. So continuing what David Accord was saying, he goes, it cuts back and forth, and every time you cut to Kylo, it's just a little more powerful. Like now he's engaging the thruster, and now we're outside, and the rocks are kicking up in our face, and it's hit another gear. It's even possibly faster and stronger. Basically, he's like shifting up every time. It's as if he's shifting up. Yeah, and then we get to the flip part as he approaches her. And Oof. Yeah.
I mean, when she's flipping, that noise is so cool. How it's just like, it's so faint. But you can yeah. This scene's cool.
Yeah. It's really cool.
Look at that. That rules.
Yeah, it's good. Very good. Good sounds.
Yeah, good sounds, good visuals, good everything.
Very cool.
I mean, I think that's the first time that had happened, right? A lightsaber
the first time
taking
I've
down
seen
a
that.
TIE fighter. I guess not even really in Mando when he's hanging on Gideon's ship, but he doesn't have a lightsaber at that point.
Right.
Yeah.
It's the first time I remember it. So that moment, as he finally approaches, and then she does the slow motion flip. Originally, that part had music, and they took it out.
Yeah.
And so
Which
he
I think
said
is the right move.
Yeah, agreed. In fact, they had music for the whole speeder chase, I believe, and that's why on the soundtrack, on the commercially released soundtrack, there is a track called Speeder Chase, which I'll play a little bit of in a second, so we can hear what we missed, because it doesn't appear in the movie, that track at all.
Well, they wanted to make sure we heard that they fly now.
You're right. How could we?
They had to make sure.
You're right. So he says the slow motion flip, that was a moment where we had a little bit of a back and forth about what the sound is. There was a moment where that part just went completely silent, where she flips over. And then we did a pass where all you heard was the flap of her cape, like the cloth, and the saber slice. And then we added some rocks. And then there was a point where there was an argument, maybe a hint of the TIE fighter. So we did this sort of sustained TIE scream and heavy reverb that was kind of a dreamy state. And that's where it landed. That's what the final result is.
Yeah. Sounds great.
Yeah.
Good job, guys.
Yeah, good job. Doing a slow-mo scene in general is, one has to approach it differently. You have to do something that calls attention to it and doesn't make it cheesy, and I don't know, trying to achieve a different state in that is probably a good way to go. Yeah. Did you see Rebel Moon?
Would you have done anything differently? In this part? And I'm not, obviously John Williams knows what he's doing, but I'm just saying, if you were in charge of this, how would you have handled it?
Well, I like the choice to take the music out, so I guess I would have just not written anything.
Sure.
But the music was all taken out, so yeah, I guess I wouldn't do anything differently than him.
I have not seen Rebel Moon.
Okay, yeah, there's so much slow-mo. Oh my God.
I believe that.
Yeah.
I've seen almost every other movie he's done, and I 100% believe that.
Yep.
I'll watch it at some point. I was waiting for the extended thing to come out, just because I'm if I'm gonna watch this, I might as well
Oh my God.
Yeah. But I was just if I'm gonna watch it, let me watch the thing that he's this is the ideal version of it. That's sort of my brain.
My God.
Because I'm not gonna watch it twice.
Oh no, I wouldn't.
No.
I saw.
They did I think it was at the Arrow in Santa Monica a couple days ago. They did a double feature of both extended cuts. And I was thinking about it, but then I was I don't want to be the guy who goes to a double feature of both extended cuts of Zack Snyder's Rebel Moon with a Q&A of Zack Snyder there,
That's so funny. Oh my gosh.
Didn't want to be that guy.
I went to one of the screenings they did in Hollywood before it was released on Netflix, because Ender Smith, who worked on the music for the Naboo movie and also it does the art, designs fonts, worked on some background or did some alien languages.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so you can see his work on some lettering, some signs, some
rules.
stickers. Yeah. But
that's so cool.
Yeah, it was cool. But yeah, most of us who went to the screening with him thought it was pretty bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately. But the props were cool.
I believe that.
Good job, languages.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, look, in those kind of movies, that's where the fun is had. It feels like when you've seen one of those movies, you've seen most of those movies, But then if you can make the production design and the set design and the creature design or whatever fun, then that's the fun thing in it.
Yeah, totally.
I don't know. But I haven't seen the movie, so I can't speak on it.
Right. Okay. Oops, I paused it on accident. But it just even that little clip, it sounds so musical. It's like, doo-doo-doo. Like.
Yeah. Oh, when it's like spinning out or whatever.
Yeah, but I mean, each of the sounds really, like the way it just cuts, it's like, I could see someone, I don't know, like taking an excerpt of this and like using it as the basis for like a song or something. It sounds, yeah.
I do love the spinning out noise. The last
it
thing
is very
I heard,
good.
the wow, wow, wow. I think it's cool. I mean, I assume it's from a car or something. Like, it sounds like something you would hear in real life, but.
Yeah, if you live on my street, you definitely would. Yeah, this sequence, the thing that it reminds me of the most closely is probably the pod race in Phantom Menace. Just so much sound design and, very little music.
Yeah.
I'm a fan. It's good.
Yeah.
The sound of the TIE fighters, or the sound of the TIE fighter is, I guess in the same interview that I mentioned, they talk about creating a bunch of new TIE sounds for this movie and for other things, because with Ben Burtt, they only got to make like a few different versions, like just a few TIE fighter things. So the recipe for making the sound of a TIE fighter, as a lot of people already know, is primarily the elephant scream, and then underneath that is like the race car on wet pavement. And so to make his new TIE, Dave Accord kind of just took that recipe with slightly different ingredients. So there still is an elephant scream, but like it's a different elephant scream. And then he tried some other animals with, horrible screams, and kind of chose different vehicles passing by to mix with it. And so, yeah, that's what they ended up with for this. New
It's got to be
TIE
very daunting.
Oh, yeah.
It'd be like, I've got to make a new TIE fighter noise or a new lightsaber noise or whatever it is. Like, that feels like I would not sleep at night if I was dealing with that.
But it's also so fortuitous that they have such clear recipes for certain things.
Oh, totally.
Like that Ben Burtt style was just to like mix different found sounds from real life.
Yeah.
I feel like that makes things so much easier, because it could have been a completely synthesized, like digitally synthesized sound that, I mean, it would be so much harder to parse and recreate, like reverse engineer. So
Sure.
It's great that Ben Burtt has been so open about his process and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. A treasure. Okay, we only have like 20 seconds left.
Right! They got Chewie! They got him!
Now the music's back. Oh, remember I said that interval was coming back? There we go. There we go. It paid off. Yeah. We'll hear that again, so I can be right again.
Right! They got Chewie! They got him!
Major 7th. And this is when Rey raises her hand up to try to stop the transport. And this was one of my favorite moments in the film, actually, this part. I mean, it really goes on in the next set of minutes, but yeah. Do you have feelings about it? It is controversial.
Yeah. I mean, I don't mind this part. If it was up to me, and people are gonna frickin' hate me for this, they would have just killed Chewie.
Same, actually.
If it was up to me,
I wanted it to mean something.
Yes, but I understand why they didn't, because Chewie's not a face. He doesn't have a face. You can do Chewbacca forever. You know what I mean? Like, that's why they didn't kill him, because you could just keep doing him with the new guy in the suit. So I don't mind the Rey stopping the ship. I think that's cool. I like also when they do it in Obi-Wan, when Vader's doing it. I think that's cool.
What do you think of the Force lightning from her fingers?
Yeah, I mean, sure. Look, that is tied to so much of the Palpatine stuff.
Yeah.
I think. that it's, you know, if you like the Palpatine stuff, then the Force Lightning is great, you know? I'm sort of ambivalent on the Palpatine stuff. I think it's fine. I wish it was set up a little more, you know, beforehand, but it doesn't bother me. I don't really care that much, you know, but I'm not burning down buildings over it.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
That's good.
I think some people are. I think some people are
I
mad
think some
about that still,
you're
you
right.
know? Yeah.
Some people definitely are mad about it. Yeah, so let me play a little bit of the speeder chase track that did not make it in the film, and try to imagine what that would have been like to have this in there.
They fly now?
There you go. It's sort of a similar, the track serves a similar purpose as like Scherzo for X-Wing, Scherzo for Motorcycle and Orchestra and Indy.
That's
kind of
exactly
doing
what
an
I was
action
thinking
set
of.
piece.
I was like, it sounds a lot like Motorcycle.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
And he likes writing
You
those
could lay
action set
that-
pieces.
Yeah. You could lay that over, you know, Indy and his dad
Totally.
leaving on the motorcycle, and it would totally work fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'd be curious if someone edited this over that just to see what it looks like.
Yeah, I would be too. Because, I'm curious where they would match the dialogue and stuff. Because I don't know exactly where it lays. But I like the track, but I think it was the right decision to not have music in it. But yeah, lots of people are upset about it though. Like John Williams fans are upset about it.
That it's not in it?
Yeah.
Oh,
That he wrote this whole thing and it's not in there.
Sure.
But also that happened in Empire Strikes Back too. There's some music from the
yeah.
beginning of Hoth that didn't make it in. There's music for Meeting Yoda that got cut.
Do you think, what is the weird legality of if they made another Star Wars movie with John Williams-esque music, could they use that song in there? Like, say in a hypothetical world, John is not around in 3 years and there's another movie coming out, very similar music. Do you have to get permission from the estate? Do you have to get permission? Like, how does that work? I guess
Probably.
they
use
own
the
that
same
music, probably, right, though?
Yeah, but yeah, that's a good question. I'm assuming that John Williams takes the writer's share and Disney probably takes the publisher's share.
Sure.
So if someone else used it in the future, if they just used the composition but did a new performance of it, then I think John Williams would have to get a cut of that. I'm guessing. I mean, unless there's some, I don't know. There's always an asterisk in my mind of like, but with Disney there might be there's always some weird thing going on.
Weird
so
loophole.
I don't know. Maybe they have a different deal.
I'm just thinking about how like they're still using Ralph McQuarrie sketches, you know, for inspiration for stuff. And you're like, they're never throwing away anything. All of this extra music exists. Like, why wouldn't you try to use that at some point in the future?
Yeah, I mean, I think the music is probably, as long as it's been, I think the music actually might be more protected than the sketches. I'm not sure, but like, and then let alone when authors come up with characters for their books and they don't get royalties for the books, and then those characters become like, you know, huge, like Thrawn and stuff. Like,
you're talking to someone who worked at Marvel for years. I know all about that stuff. Well aware.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I don't know. I was just thinking about it just because it's a shame that music like that does just disappear, basically. You know?
Yeah. Although it disappears less than it would have several decades ago because of recordings.
Sure.
So that's good.
Sure. That's true.
Yeah, because even around the time the original trilogy was made, it wasn't common to also produce a soundtrack. Like it was like oh, we should, which is why they have to go back and re-release things and remaster things specifically to make a soundtrack version, like soundtrack versions that are good. It's a whole thing.
Is Empire the only movie with released music that is not in the movie?
No, in A
At
New
least
Hope.
from original trilogy?
In A New Hope,
There
there's
is?
a whole different binary sunset cue.
Oh, really?
It's very different, yeah. And then John Williams was like, it's a little bit more ominous sounding. And then George Lucas wanted something different, and that's how we got like the Force theme, the staring at the French horn thing. Yeah,
It's cool.
yeah. I mean, it's a fairly common thing to happen. So
Sure.
yeah.
Eh?
Anyway, is there anything else you have to say about these minutes before we do the questionnaire?
No, I think it's I think it's a mixed bag of minutes, just like it's a mixed bag of movie, but I like parts of it a lot, I like the ending stuff a lot. I think I like the Ren stuff a lot. Not something I would have thought of before us talking, but now that you've said that it's funny, it's all I'm ever going to think about when I see this movie is how funny those few seconds are. It's fun. I don't know. There's fun stuff in this movie.
Yeah, for sure. So I usually do a rundown of the themes and where we are on the soundtrack. So I'll do that now. The musical themes we hear in this clip are the Force theme. We hear Knights of Ren, the slow form. We hear March of the Resistance, A section. And we hear Psalm of the Sith, A section, which is also Anthem of Evil. And then on the soundtrack, there's nothing from the OST, but if you have the For Your Consideration album, this is track 4, In the Desert. And then cut from the movie is track 5, Speeder Chase, from the original soundtrack. So with that, this is your first time doing the Star Wars Music Minute Questionnaire.
Yeah.
Are you ready?
I'm so ready.
Okay.
I have no idea what to expect. This is very exciting.
Oh, good. Question number 1. In exactly 3 words, what does Star Wars sound like?
That's a great question. What does Star Wars sound like? Shoot, that's 4 words. Oh no. I was gonna say loud, proud, and in charge. I thought, but then that's 4 words.
I can make we can put a hyphen in charge.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Okay. So it was loud, proud, in charge.
Proud and in charge. Yeah.
Good. Okay. Yeah. That works.
Great.
Great. That's an answer that no one's given. I feel like
Great.
not even. Yeah.
That's the goal.
That's good.
It's not something I ever would have thought of before, but as soon as you said it, I was like, this feels right.
Nice. Question number 2 is, what is something related to Star Wars music or sound that you want to learn more about? Anything big or small?
Yeah, I mean, I think I just like hearing, there's obviously a lot out there about how Bert made the sounds, but I always enjoy hearing what things were combined in order to create that noise. And anytime you hear a new one, it's always like, okay. It's never something you would think of. So anytime that happens, I really like that. So more of that, please.
Yeah, I like that. I'm very interested in that too. And finally, what is a score or soundtrack that you're fond of besides anything Star Wars?
Yeah. Do you know what's... I really like the 10 Cloverfield Lane soundtrack.
What's that?
It's a Bear McCreary. It's the second Cloverfield movie.
I didn't know there was a second one.
Oh, there's 3.
Oh, okay.
This one is not... They're all unrelated. It's sort of like a Twilight Zone-y thing where like they exist in the same world, but they are 3 unrelated stories, basically. It's great. I think it's better than the first one. It's John Goodman, Mary Elizabeth Winstead, John Gallagher Jr., and they're like trapped in a bunker while they think the world is ending outside, but you're not sure if it's actually, if the aliens are actually attacking or if they're being held down there while everything is fine.
Very tense.
It's great. So it's very tense. It's very, almost like 1970s conspiracy movie a little bit.
Is it set in the 70s?
But yeah. No, but it's just, very like, we don't know what's going on. Are we being lied to, or is the world actually ending out there? But yeah, I did something with Bear McCreary and I was like, oh, I love that soundtrack so much. And I don't know if he heard that a lot. So I think it was like a surprising thing for him. But I used to listen to it all the time.
What did you do with him?
When I was at Marvel, we did live streams from Comic-Con.
Oh.
And we had a booth, and it was my job to like book people who were at Comic-Con to come talk on the live stream for a little bit. And he was around, and I wanted to meet him, and that's how it works.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was great. He was cool. He was very cool.
Yeah, Did you watch the Lord of the Rings series?
The TV show?
Yeah.
I didn't. No.
Okay. Yeah, me neither. But he composed that, and
Oh, did he?
yeah.
Yeah.
And I heard that it was a good score from people who liked the show. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm also big. Giacchino's Lost score is like huge for me, and I listen to that all the time.
Nice.
Big Giacchino guy. Love him.
Yeah.
So that's also a lot of his stuff is on heavy rotation in my iPod.
Yeah. I just watched Inside Out 2, and it was he wasn't the main composer for it, but
but he did the first one.
Mm-hmm. And I like all of his Pixar stuff. Yeah. His Pixar stuff is really good. Yeah.
He's great. I just 2 months ago I flew down to Hawaii because they were doing a 20th anniversary Lost concert that he was composing.
Conducting?
I flew down for it. Yeah. That's what I meant.
Awesome.
Yeah, it was great. It was so much fun.
Very cool. All right. Well, where can people find you, Patrick? Lots of places.
Yeah. Let's see. There's a few things. Right now, George Lucas Talk Show, all of that's on YouTube. It's a show that I do with Connor Ratliff and Griffin Newman. Connor plays George Lucas as if he's retired and hosting a talk show now. We've done a ton of episodes. We've had a lot of people on. We've had like Whoopi Goldberg. We've had Ahmed Best. We've had Seth Meyers, Weird Al. Like, we had the Severance cast. Yeah. Recently, Adam Scott and Britt and Zach Cherry. That's all on YouTube. You can find that there. There's also a documentary that just came out about the show and about Connor Ratliff. It's called I'm George Lucas, a Connor Ratliff story. You can get that at imgeorgelucas.com. It's on VOD now. We're working on the Blu-ray.
Did you direct that or edit it or something?
Didn't direct it. No, I'm the co-producer on it. I was like the go-between the doc and the show itself. But they actually just released the soundtrack. It's like streaming on Spotify and Apple Music and YouTube and all that stuff. So that's up there. Awesome. This guy Joe Imbrugio did the soundtrack, and it's very nice. You can also watch the Naboo movie, which of course you're a part of. NabooMovie.com. It's a live reading of the Phantom Menace script. It's truly insane. It's got a crazy cast. When is this coming out?
In a couple months, it will be safe.
Okay,
yeah.
Great. So then you can probably at this point also watch the Attack of the Clones reading that we did, the Great Kamino Kaper. That'll probably also be on YouTube up there. That happened back in August.
Yeah.
It's definitely not July 11th right now.
Yeah.
And what else? I don't know. You can find me on Twitter, Patrick Cotnoir, on Instagram, Cotnoir. My website's Patrick Cotnoir. It's got all the stuff that I'm working on. Too much stuff, but come check it all out.
Yeah, you do so much stuff.
Too much.
And maybe a new podcast. Yeah.
Maybe a new podcast. Maybe. Oh boy.
Yeah. Anyway, listeners will be back next week to talk about minutes 41 through 45 of The Rise of Skywalker. As always, you can find me online in most of the places, either at Star Wars Music Minute, Star Wars Musement, or Chrysanthi Tan. You can join my Discord server by becoming a patron at any level. All the links will be in the show notes. And with that, I forgot how to do my sign-off because it's been a few months since I've recorded an episode. Thanks for listening to Star Wars Music Minute. May the Force be with you. Bye.